Hello everyone and welcome as we continue our journey in understanding and working with the shadow. As I alluded to in my first video entitled, What is Shadow and Books I Recommend, today I will explain how to convert your date of birth to find your corresponding tarot cards. But first, I would like to discuss broader aspects of the shadow and ultimately how it blends into the tarot as personality and soul. Now, most of us watching this video will admit that in their psyche lies darkness and light, and being on the path of self-awareness, we have come to accept that we are dual in nature, and that dual is usually identified as a conscious self and unconscious self. It's been called the lower self and the higher self. And when we do this work from a psychological framework, it's expressed as personality self and soul self. The important thing is soul is eternal. Personality changes through each incarnation. Let's look at personality. It is form consciousness. It is known in esoteric as our threefold nature. The mind is really your thoughts, your emotions and your feelings. And then the third aspect is the physical. It's the bodily sensation. We found this very easily in the Pythagorean triangle for those who were following it. When you put your own personal date of birth in the two intertwining triangles, and you saw that the top line is your mind, the middle line is your emotions, and your physical is your bottom of these three planes of the personality self. It does other things, but mind, emotion, and physical, the threefold nature of the personality, and the numbers that you have on those planes when you put in your date of birth are going to show you again aspects of the personality. Of course, also when you dive into the Pythagorean triangle, you also understand your soul essence and the purpose that you are here. Now, soul is the storehouse of our ongoing process of evolution, and soul works differently than the personality. It works through intuition, and its thinking is very imaginative, and its feelings are inspirational. Back to doing shadow work. We know on the spiritual path that we're basically filling a mandate, which is man, know thyself. So as we embark, we must also acknowledge who we are, our personality, those strengths, those powers, those fears, those egoistic tendencies. And we know that once we say, okay, I'm embarking on this path, here I go, I identify that I have a higher self and a lower self, you start shadow work, and before you know it, some part of you, and it can come out through work, health, life, relationships, begins to fall apart. This is called staging a crisis. And what has happened is the denied, unhealthy, or toxic part has dislodged from the unconscious, and now it's right in front of you. And some of it may be very foreign and saying, what is this? Where did this come from? And as you do shadow work for years and years, you learn to read the message. You learn to read the codes, the symbols of what it's trying to represent, why things are happening, to continue on the path of the shadow work and clearing all of that out. So what happens when it reveals to this is we basically have a choice. We keep working and finding the root of the situation, or we say, nah, this isn't for me. Wow, I don't need this problem. I'm going to put this away. And as soon as you say that, number one, the personality has won, and whatever was uncovered, whoop, goes right back into the unconscious just as quickly as it was brought to light. It has now been disowned, maybe for the first time, maybe for the 100th time, and pushed back into the unconscious. Now, as we evolved as humans, and as we get on this feeling like there's got to be more to myself than just my personality and the world around me, then we seem to all of a sudden, over time, the entrenched denial of the shadow all of a sudden will kind of act out indirectly, and it'll come out as depression, or it can come out in a compulsive, addictive way. Both of these can take on various forms of mental health and crises, and we know that addictions can range from shopping, buying, eating, sex, mind-altering drugs, substances. Addictions can be as simple as a collector of stuff that seems to own you, you don't own it. But it still, these disowned parts still will come up for you to address. Now, why does this happen? Well, number one, we kind of say no and say go back into the shadow because it doesn't fit into the image we believe we have of ourselves or the world or our culture or any part of that. So our problems are then maybe projected outwardly by saying it's not my fault, it's their fault, that happened because of this. We can placate, we can convince ourselves. The ego has many ways of doing that. What I've learned through decades of working with the shadow on a personal level, on my own, and through therapy is that if I projected something onto a significant other, an individual, a stranger, no matter what it was, I own that. But, and this is important, I also have learned that the person that triggered it also has part of that disowned self within it, or it wouldn't have been able for me to identify or you to identify and be triggered by it. It is a dual two-form give and take. And again, from my own experience, the people who are your worst pain in the neck are your best teachers. Okay, and then you can say, okay, you taught me everything I wanted. I'm moving on, you move on, goodbye, right? If it could be all that simple. All right, so with that said, our personality, let's say our egoic self, needs to be looked at only as not bad, but as a vehicle for the personality or I should say, the personality should be looked at as a vehicle for the soul to be expressed. We need both. So we want to temper the personality and heal the personality until it allows, it accepts the soul's, let's say, mission, the soul's prompting to do more of its bidding than that separateness of the personality, me against you. part of our makeup. So what I'm going to share with you now, let's go ahead and find out our personality and soul cards. And what I'm going to share with you is based on 2 books in the tarot. Now, the first one who came up with this methodology was Angelise Arrien in her book, The Tarot Handbook, and then Mary Kay Greer in her book, Tarot for Yourself, made this methodology of how to convert, and I'm getting my worksheets out for you, how to convert your date of birth into a tarot card, known as the personality and soul cards. Other ways that you can understand your personality before we get into this, of course, is astrology, numerology, the Enneagram, the I Ching, and you can even take the Myers-Briggs test to see your personality and your shadow aspects. So there's many ways of self-exploration. Certainly for me, it has been astrology, numerology, and the tarot all my life. Okay, so here is how the profile to break down your date of birth works. And there's difference, so hang in there with me. I will give you everything that these 2 tarotists have taught me through their books. Let's take your date of birth, and we're going to break it down to the first of your year of birth. Put that on top, and we're going to work vertically. That's very important. So you have your year of birth, your month of birth, and then your date of birth. You're going to add it down, and then you're going to add it up horizontally. So if I was born on September 11th, 1963, I would come up with 1983. I add up 1 and 9, that's 10, plus 8 is 18, plus 3 is 21. Here I broke it down. Here we break it down to a base number. If the final total equates a double-digit number, 22 or less, reduce to a single digit. Now, why 22 or less? Well, remember, we're working with the tarot profile. There is only 22 major arcanas. The double digit is your personality number, 21. That would be the world, wouldn't it, in the tarot? And the single digit is your soul number, number 3. Ooh, that's a beautiful card. That is the Empress. So your personality is the world and your soul card is the Empress. Okay, here is another example of what can happen when we are reducing these numbers. Our year of birth, our month of birth, our date of birth. Now this time I come up with 2021. I add that across. There's no double digit. It's just a number 5. Number 5 is your soul number. End of story. You are here to really work on the archetypal energy, the teacher aspect of the Hierophant, which is what the 5th card of the major arcana is. Now here's another example. And that's all for any single digit number. So just happens to be 5 here. 1954, year of birth, born in July, on the 11th day. Now here, this individual, 1972, 9 and 1 is 10, 17 to 19, right? We see it going across, but I have to reduce that. So 9 and 1 is 10. Whoops, I've got to reduce that again. Everything ends in 1 digit. 10 and 1, of course, is 1. So what we have here is a 19-10-1 individual, and that could definitely be a life path number, and it is. And in breaking it down for the tarot, the first number 19 is your personality card. That's going to be the Sun. The last reduced number, number 1, that's your soul card. Ooh, that's the Magician. And the middle number, 10, is your creative principle. That's the Wheel of Fortune. That is through Angeles Arrien's way of explaining the 1910-1 archetypal energy and personality and soul. Mary K. Greer views all 3 cards as operating as both personality and soul card. Okay? Here is another example that can happen. 1944 is the year, October on the 21st day. Well, you add up 1975 after you add it down horizontally. That is a 22. Of course, we break 22 down and we know it's a 4. So here we have the 22 is the personality number and 4 is the soul number. That is what Angeles Arrien says about the 22-4. Mary K. Greer views the opposite. She says that number 4 is the personality and number 22 is the soul. Since I am a 22-4 life path number and have been working for decades with this energy, I would tell you that I resonate more to the Mary K. Greer. I identify definitely with the Emperor as my personality card and the 22, the Fool, as my soul card. Very, very strongly. If you have these numbers, you decide. The last example that I want to put out there is 1987. We're born in February on the 6th day. We add those across and ooh, we have a number that is more than 22. And we add that across. It's 24. 2 and 4 is 6. Again, I'm just writing here. There's only 22 cards in the major. In this case, the number 6 is both the personality and the soul card. It makes you more focused and directed. Now, I think that I'm positive that it is both practitioners that say that. Yes, it is both Mary K. Greer and Angeles Arrien that say that. But Mary Greer also, in another example that she gave, said that so it was a little conflicting. She said that any number bigger than 22 reduces it down to whatever number, that 6, that 9. Definitely that it would be more of the soul essence, and that individual is here to really work on, again, the soul aspects of your life, this lifetime around, more than the personality. And I tend to agree with that. So let's go ahead and look at the chart. And I'm going to explain it a little bit more, but I want this to be here on your screen. Okay, the major arcana and how the personality and the soul card number, this is our chart. As I gave you an example, I myself am the Emperor as my personality. I am a 22-4. Now that's going to be reversed, so I shouldn't have probably used that one. Let's use the 1910-1. We know that the 19 is the personality, so that is the Sun card. The 1 was said to be the soul. What's the number 1 card? the Magician. And then we established that 10 was the creative principle. That's the Wheel of Fortune. So that is what you do. The higher number is the personality. The lower number is the soul card. If there isn't a higher number, then you use it to really emphasize both your personality and your soul card, or just work on your soul essence, whatever that tarot card is. When your tarot card is the same as your zodiac sign, very important. In this lifetime, you are working and focusing closely with both of the energies and properties of the card and sign. That is only if your tarot card is the same as your zodiac sign. And your zodiac sign, most of you already know what that is. Now, here are some other caveats that I wanted to really get in and explain with you here today, because it's very important that we understand these. And I want them both on your screen as we talk about them. Okay. If your tarot card, okay, whether that is the Magician, the Fool, the Hermit, and your zodiac sign are different. Let's stop right there and let's get an example. So my tarot card is the Emperor, okay? The Emperor, the zodiac sign is Aries. So my tarot card and zodiac signs are different. I am not an Aries. So the tarot card assigned to your zodiac sign is inherent, or a natural gift that is assigned you with your life purpose. So what is my zodiac sign? My zodiac sign is Scorpio. So now I can add additional information and say that in the tarot, my personality and my soul card do not represent my zodiac sign, but I can look at what my zodiac sign card is, and that is the Death. So I have to take that into the equation. Also, and this is through Angeli's Arrien, where we get the sensory. Mary K. Greer does not include that in her methodology. The sensory abilities, of course, we know that. They're highlighted here. That is sight, sound, smell, and touch. If they are associated either with your tarot card or your zodiac sign. Let's take again me for an example. My tarot card is the Emperor. Yes, I do have a sensory. I have sight, okay? Do I have one with my zodiac sign? No, I don't. So let's go ahead and read. If you do not have any specific sensory abilities assigned to you, it indicates that all of the sensories are important for you to use and explore in this lifetime. So that's not the case for me, because I have one. If one or two are assigned, either card or zodiac sign, then these particular senses are heightened and want to be used in this lifetime. So again, for me, it would be sight. The tarot card is also assigned planets. You can see this here, or see this here. This is our zodiac signs, and here are our planets. So the tarot cards assigned a planet. The property inherited in that planet is instrumental in your life. Okay, let's go ahead and take my numbers again as an example. I know that my personality is the Emperor. Nope, there's no planet. My soul card is the Fool, where there is a planet. So Uranus, in my personal astrological horoscope, is going to be very instrumental this life. So I would look to see what sign my Uranus is in, what house my Uranus is in, and what aspects Uranus is making to other parts of my chart. So I hope you understand that. Again, additional ways of understanding this lifetime, your personality and everything about it. Now, I wanted to explain this a little deeper, the 1910-1 individual, because it is multi-dynamic. I also have a family member who has this. The 1910-1 individual, of course, we've established have the following tarot card order. The Sun is their personality card, 19, the Sun, personality card. It's also, they're going to have the Sun as a planet to, as we say, take into consideration. The 10 is the Wheel of Fortune. It's viewed as creativity. This is the magic that you have. You are also going to have karmic debts. The Wheel of Fortune has to do with karma. There will be opportunities and lessons probably around every corner. The Wheel of Fortune also has Jupiter as the planet to see where that needs to be considered in the individual's chart. And then lastly, the Magician is going to be the Soul card, and voila, here we have another planet. So we have 3 planets this individual has to really take into consideration when evaluating the dynamic of their personality, their soul, their potential this lifetime. They have the Sun, they have Jupiter, and they have Mercury. These are other little things that I wanted to give to people about the 1910-1 individual. It is a strong connection to past life, your gifts and your lessons. Because it is a 1910-1 and the 9 is the beginning of the cycle and 9 is the completion of a cycle, you have the full spectrum of all the experiences in between. So you have that experience has given you knowledge. That knowledge you are now responsible for. And lastly, the 19 in numerology is a karmic number, which always, if there's one truth in one science, it should be mirrored in another. So astrology and numerology are being mirrored here. Do not abuse your immense power and gifts. It is kind of a little warning sign for that individual. All right, friends, I'm going to wrap it up there. I hope this was beneficial. Let me know if you have any questions, if you're stuck anywhere or you can't identify how to use this chart. And I appreciate everybody listening and following. Blessings to all. Bye for now.